Eight-time world champion Manny Pac-Man Pacquiao.
Another right hook. Straight left hand. Pacquiao's landing at will. Hard left hand.
Pacquiao defends his world welterweight title against Chris Algieri, an iron-willed undefeated champ with a chance of a lifetime.
Algieri has way too much heart for one person.
Can America's rising superstar dethrone a boxing icon? Pacquiao versus Algieri, Saturday, November 22nd. See it here.
The Foreign Affairs Minister says it would be a grave error to back down from government's immigration policy. A probe into that tragic plane crash could take months to complete. Government reaffirms its commitment to constitutional amendment bills, plus MPs pay their respects to Warren Lavardi. We've got those stories and a whole lot more tonight. I'm Voni Toot and NB12 starts now. Tonight, Foreign Affairs and Immigration Minister Fred Mitchell has dismissed criticism of government's new immigration policy as unfortunate and ill-informed commentary by people who do not wish the Bahamas any good. He made it clear today that immigration is a blunt instrument, not social work, and asserted it would be a grave error for the Bahamas to signal to the world that its resolve is slackening or weakening.
I repeat, immigration is a blunt instrument. It is not social work. It is a policing action and requires difficult and hard decisions.
Mitchell didn't mince words as he defended government's immigration policy, which has drawn criticism from several international groups, including the Robert F. Kennedy Center for Justice and Amnesty International, which expressed concern that the policy would lead to human rights violations. However, the Foreign Affairs Minister says if the Bahamas government does not flinch in the face of criticism, it will send the message that the Bahamas is not a place that illegal migrants should come to.
It is important to say that the Bahamas should not do anything which signals to the world that our resolve on this issue is slackening or weakening. That would be a grave error and sabotage our future best interests.
Mitchell says while one must be cognizant of the international dimension, the only question Bahamians should ask is, are these policies in the best interests of the country? He says many Bahamians feel that the country's future is threatened if actions are not taken to stem the tide of illegal migration.
Law and order requires us to act to stem the tide of boat after boat coming to this country seemingly unimpeded with hundreds of people on those boats, no visa, no means of taking care of themselves, and no jobs. That becomes a national security problem. So no government can stand still.
The immigration minister noted that over 3,000 illegal migrants have been repatriated so far this year. He also revealed that the Carmichael Road Detention Center is once again at capacity, just 2 weeks after a repatriation exercise. Mitchell says 2 flights are scheduled to return illegal migrants to their home countries next week.
So the mathematics dictates the course of the action. But I want to caution all of us not to be jingoistic, even as we apply the law.
The new policy, which took effect on November 1st, requires all non-Bahamians to have passports of their nationalities and evidence that they have permission to live and work in the country. Additionally, the Department of Immigration will not issue certificates of identity to non-nationals born in the Bahamas. Mitchell says he has already met with a representative of the International Organization of Migration and will travel to the United States this weekend to outline government's immigration policy. In other news, National Security Minister Dr. Bernard Nottage has reaffirmed the Christie administration's commitment to the passage of 4 constitutional amendment bills, but suggested in Parliament today that opposition MPs are distracted by the Free National Movement's convention scheduled for Friday. Nottage says when he last addressed the matter in the House of Assembly, he indicated there would be further dialogue with MPs who raised concern about certain bills, particularly the fourth bill, which seeks to end discrimination based on sex. However, he says distracting events have unfolded since then.
Events that will, however, hopefully have run their course by this weekend, after which there's every reason to believe that conditions will be more conducive to consultation with the relevant members on the outstanding issues. I hasten to add, Mr. Speaker, that I do not mention this as any sort of criticism. I only mention it to explain the quite understandable reluctance of the Constitutional Commission to engage members at a time when they are distracted by other matters.
East Grand Bahama MP Peter Turnquest sprung to his feet, asserting opposition MPs are not distracted.
With respect to the suggestion that the opposition somehow is not prepared to move forward with national business as a result of events that may be happening on this side, Mr. Speaker, I categorically reject that based upon the knowledge on our side. And the government should know that we in the opposition are always ready to proceed with business of this country.
To that, Nottage responded that if the FNM is not distracted, government is ready to proceed, and revealed that the Constitutional Commission's public education campaign will be expanded in the new year.
Various organizations in civil society have communicated to us an interest in engaging the direct dialogue with those members of Parliament, as well as who may, whether on the government side or on the opposition side, who may be having difficulties with any of the bills.
Nottage noted that these bills are not about marriage or even citizenship, but rather equality between men and women. 11 days after prominent pastor Dr. Miles Monroe and 8 others died in a plane crash in Grand Bahama, Transport and Aviation Minister Glenys Hannah Martin has revealed it could take several months for authorities to determine what went wrong. She says officials from the Civil Aviation Department, Federal Aviation Administration, National Transportation Safety Board, and aircraft manufacturer Bombardier will meet at NTSB's headquarters in Washington, D.C. next month to begin analyzing data retrieved from the Learjet's cockpit voice recorder and digital electronic engine control monitor.
That an investigation of this nature will require not only a detailed analysis of the cockpit recorder and the digital electronic engine control monitor, but also analysis of other data, including all other surrounding circumstances to the crash, which may be relevant to the investigation, and, if necessary, analysis of aircraft parts by the manufacturers, Bombardier, a process, I'm advised, may possibly take several months to complete.
Those recorders were retrieved from the crash site and sent to Washington, D.C. within 2 days of the tragedy, which sparked an outpouring of grief from around the world. Hannah Martin asked the victims' grieving relatives to bear with authorities as they seek answers.
This will therefore, Mr. Speaker, call upon family members and all others to remain patient with the process as we seek to find answers as to the cause of this tragic incident. The entire country, indeed the world, has been profoundly impacted by this tragedy. And I wish to assure that the Department of Civil Aviation will continue to accord the highest priority to this accident investigation.
Monroe and several others from Bahamas Faith Ministries were on their way to Grand Bahama for a global leadership forum when their plane crashed into a crane in the Grand Bahama shipyard. Their bodies were transported to New Providence this week. A group of pastors is speaking out tonight on this country's crime problem, asserting that drastic measures need to be taken to combat it. Religious leaders claim members of their congregations are living in fear and say they plan to take a more active role in the fight against crime. Jasmine Brown reports.
The pastors we spoke to today insist crime in the Bahamas has surpassed nightmarish levels, and they insist it's for that reason the church must play more than a traditional role in society. Those pastors who represent more than a dozen churches in New Providence say while they may have come from different denominational backgrounds, they are experiencing the same critical issues when it comes to crime. Pastors like J. Carl Ramming from the Fox Hill community says crime has transformed communities. Ramming is the senior pastor of St. Paul's Baptist Church. He insists the residents are still reeling from last December's deadly shooting at Freedom Park that killed 4 people and injured 7 others.
We've been trying to heal ourselves from that incident earlier. And it appears as if when you think you're kind of getting some kind of relief, here comes another strike of the lightning.
Others say they face similar circumstances in their communities.
I'm in an area, Union Village. Most persons would have known of persons being killed through there. And it saddens me to see in broad daylight persons being shot down, and the area, what has so many little children, come and stand over that body. It saddens me to know that these young people from various areas would come and look for the person who they want to kill. That's happened in the past, and I know it's happening in other areas.
It's frightening to the point where we have our members are scared to even come to night churches, to leave their cars in the parking lot. Our wives are afraid to drive at evening time. We must take that fear out of the church and put it in those who are committing these crimes.
Yes.
The pastors say they are willing to step in as mediators and are willing to do more than counsel, as they cannot sit idly by and watch crime escalate. They have also launched a program to take firearms off the streets.
We are saying we are available for you to bring your son in with his gun, or if you know that he's in a gang and he might get shot or shoot somebody. We are pastoral mediators, and we want to try to help. That's a small, but we believe a significant thing.
We are at a critical juncture in our history. We are getting all kind of notoriety from national and international bodies on the level of crime. Where we are today didn't take us just a few years to get here. Getting out of it is not going to take us a few years either, as much as we might want to hear that. There's no silver bullet. What we are doing is just another form of intervention by a group of concerned pastors and concerned citizens, concerned community leaders, to try to bring some sanity to the streets.
Everybody needs to be involved. There's nobody is safe. Everybody needs to get out of the walls of the church, go into the communities, and let's fight this demon of crime and murder that's destroying this nation. We need to save the Bahamas.
Reporting for NB12, I'm Jasmine Brown.
DNA leaders also expressed concern over crime today. Find out more after this break.